The Fourth Way by P.D. Ouspensky. Question by Ouspensky. I have often tried to think what I want, but I only find a muddle of many things. Answer by Gurdjieff. That's it. I want you to realize how difficult it is to define what you want. Suppose that you are given full choice to have what you want. You will not know what to say, but it is important that you should understand and know it. You must be able to formulate it. About certain things, you can be sure you cannot get them in any ordinary way, but there is no guarantee that you will get them in this way either. For instance, the order may be wrong. There is a certain order in which one can get things, which we do not know. You can be quite certain that you can get some things, but it may be that you will not get what you think you want, but something else. And even if you do not get the things you want, you may be quite sure that you could not have gotten them in any other way. The strange thing is that, as a rule, people do not know their aim. Aim can be formulated only if one already knows something about one's position. If a man does not realize his position, all his aims will be imaginary. So, I advise you to think about your aim, what you thought about it before, and how you would describe what one can get and what one must try to get. It is useless to describe an aim which you know you cannot attain, but if you have an aim that you know that you can attain, that you hope to attain, your work will be conscious, serious. In the beginning, people usually set before them aims that are too abstract and remote. A person's aim is, at first, like a light, which he sees afar off while walking by night along a dark road. He makes this light his aim and he goes toward it. On the way to it, he sees another light between him and the first light, and he understands that first he should go to the nearest light, and he goes towards it. After a certain time, he sees a third light, again between him and the light towards which he is going, and so on. This is repeated several times until at length the man sees the light nearest to him, that is, the aim he is able to get from where he is. So, do not have too big a view of things. Do not look too far. Look nearer. You cannot start working for some remote future. You work for tomorrow. You may find something wrong today. Why? Because yesterday was wrong. So, if you make today right, tomorrow will be all right. And only with an aim is it possible to remember what you did yesterday and what you do today, what corresponds to your aim and what does not. The motive power in all our actions is of two kinds. Something attracts or something repels us. We cannot know what we can attain in the remote future, but we can know very well the situation in which we are. If we understand it, it will give us a definite aim. The aim will be to get out of this situation. We can know certain things in us from which we must try to get free. Aim must be clearly formulated, understood, and remembered. Only then is it possible to come to results. If the aim is forgotten every moment, no results are possible. How can a man who realizes his position formulate his aim? He will see that the center of gravity of his position is sleep. Then his aim will be to awake. Or if he sees his mechanicalness, his aim will be to get rid of mechanicalness. Both come to the same thing, you see. It is a simple and practical view. Question. I see more clearly that what hinders progress is not wanting to escape mechanicalness sufficiently. How can one intensify the desire to escape? Answer. This is one of the constantly recurring questions, which is almost impossible to answer. You have to try, and you have to compare things as they are and as they should be. More understanding is necessary, and if you want a complete explanation, self-remembering, because it is the only real answer. If self-remembering increases, all the rest increases. Question. You mentioned obstacles that have got to be over before attaining one's aim. Since then, I saw so many obstacles in myself that I do not see any possibility of getting anything. Answer. That means you identify with them. You must see that you are always on the move. You never remain in one place. Sometimes you are closer to your aim, and sometimes further from it. It is necessary to observe yourself, to catch moments when you are nearer your aim. If you formulate your aim, you will know when you are closer to it and when you are further from it. If your aim is formulated rightly, you cannot be always at the same distance from it. Question. I find that I work for immediate results. Is it a wrong aim? Answer. There is no question of right and wrong. There's only a question of knowing your aim. Aim must always be in the present and refer to the future. No result is possible if there is no aim, no effort, and no decision. Question. How can one see how to make big efforts? Answer. By making small efforts. A big effort depends upon circumstances, situation, understanding, on many things. You cannot begin with big efforts. You must begin with small efforts, like, for instance, trying to remember yourself or trying to stop thoughts 3 times a day. It is quite a small effort, but if you do it regularly, the need or the possibility of a big effort may come, and you will be able to make it at the right moment. Question. When I first came to the lectures, I had a very large aim, but now it has gotten much smaller. Answer. Yes, aims shrink very much when you begin to work. They start enormous, like balloons, and then they become quite small so that you can put them in your pocket. Question. I suppose in our present state we cannot appreciate the difference between right and wrong? Answer. Quite the opposite. We can appreciate this difference, and not only can, but must. Wrong or evil begins to be comprehensible from the moment we have a direction. If we have no direction, then there is no particular evil, because it is all the same. Question. By direction, you mean aim? Answer. Yes. Aim means direction, a certain line. If my aim is to go home from here, it will be right for me to turn to the right and wrong to turn to the left. This is how the principle of good and evil can be established. There can be no definition of good and evil or right and wrong without first establishing an aim or direction. When you have an aim, then what is opposed to your aim or takes away from it is wrong, and what helps your aim is right. It must be your personal aim. If it corresponds to the possibilities of development, then the system explains these possibilities. And if you understand that what keeps us from reaching our aim is mechanicalness, and what helps us is consciousness, it will follow that consciousness represents good and mechanicalness evil. So, instead of good and evil, the system uses the words conscious and mechanical. This is quite sufficient for all practical purposes. If there are any questions, we may go further. Only you must always remember this practical definition, because it is the only sure ground that we have. What is right for us is what helps our development, our awakening, and our struggle with mechanicalness. And what is wrong for us is what encourages our mechanical tendencies, what prevents our changing, what hinders our development. If we start from that, then later we will find many more criteria for discrimination.